Hello everybody in the chess world. Today we're going to see the BogoIndian Defense, which is an opening that we haven't seen before. So basically our normal starting position will be this. We're going to have white here, and after d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight on f3. So we see this bishop on b4 check, which is, they just play an Indian defense. And then, well, without the knight on c3, that will be like an IMZO, they give this check. So of course, there is knight bd2 in here, but I like the main line bishop on d2. And the thing is, it was kind of easy for me to build up this video because initially what we think is, well, there are a lot of different moves for black in here, a lot of different versions of the BogoIndian, and this is true. But there is one that is the most played by strong players, but also by normal club players. And the reason is actually quite clear. It's easy to play, it's inevitable, and is sound. So basically, for example, in here, of course, there are, I don't know, knight c6 is a move, and a5, another way to protect the bishop. But yeah, in general, we'll see this queen on e7. I'm also, at the end of the video, going to show the possibility of bishop on e7, which is, well, this is known. Black is saying, yes, I've lost a tempo, but I'm trying to say that your bishop on d2 is misplaced. So it's interesting. Okay, we'll see that at the end. But I was saying that the queen e7, well, now black has a really easy plan. If nothing else, they could just, go on with bishop takes on d2, exchange the bishop. Then they'll play d6. That's why they have to first exchange bishops, because with d6 we're, caught in the communication. But they'll just do that. They'll exchange that, and then d6, knight bd7, and e5. And so now we understand better this placement of the queen on e7 in here. Yes, it is one of the ways to protect this bishop if black doesn't want to exchange it immediately, as, knight c6 or a5. But queen e7 is also backing up the possibility of, playing an e5. So this is the thing. Normal, you will see e3, or castles first. And here's to me, is the first key moment, because my move is bishop on d3 in here. But it's understandable why bishop on e2 is played more often. Well, first of all, bishop on e2 is a good move. But what black is seeing is, well, against the most normal, natural plan, bishop takes on d2 check, queen takes, g6, knight c3, and e5. Well, at least, I mean, if this bishop were on d3, well, then black will be threatening to play e4 with the fourchette, winning the game. So yes, bishop on e2 is trying not to lose a tempo regarding that variation. It's understandable. However, let's go back in here. I mean, where do you prefer your good light square bishop? In here, d1, h5 diagonal. I mean, who wouldn't want it here on the b1, h7 diagonal? So to me, this is a key move to actually play bishop on d3 here. Just go more aggressively, and just there's nothing to be worried about after bishop takes on d2, the same line, queen takes d6, knight c3, e5. Yes, black is threatening to play e4 and win a piece. It's true. However, well, again, to me, it's really important to have the bishop on the most ambitious diagonal. And hey, I know it might be obvious, but the first key move is just bishop on c2. I mean, there's basically black has no real threats more than just that e4. So why not actually, yes, we'll use one more tempo. But now we cannot get what we want. We have the bishop there. To me, it's really important. And well, a good detail is that immediate action by the e-pawn for black, it wouldn't be good. I mean, if they take it, we'll just recapture with a knight. And I don't know. Development is really cool for us. We're already looking at the f5 square that is kind of now ours. I think that we have a good stable advantage, and for that regard, I will probably castle short. But I mean, you could even castle long in here. And for example, I don't know, e4, this is just a mistake because we're just gonna chase that pawn with knight on g5, and if bishop on f5, well, look, one of the, again, we start seeing all the fruits that gave us having the bishop on the most aggressive diagonal. I mean, now just f3 wins, basically, because the pawn is pinned, because the bishop is hanging on f5. So, I mean, really, after bishop on c2, the main move is bishop on g4. because at least, well, black develops a piece, then they probably want to play knight on d7, and they want to prevent us from playing long castles because due to, e4 and having the pin right in here. But here comes the second key move in this whole line, which is just long castles. I mean, you have to know this move. This is important. So all you have to know is bishop on c2 and long castles. And then you can just, put your bishop on the aggressive diagonal. So in fact, in this particular line, I don't need to show you much more. Here we got actually what we wanted with white, because I mean, if black does nothing, we're just going to continue with the simple h3. We don't care about this pin. Black never wants to take on f3 because we'll capture with the g pawn and open up the g file to attack black's king. So, and the thing is like we kind of trick black into playing a natural development that shouldn't be bad, but that it doesn't benefit black in this particular position, because we've actually gone aggressive with long castles. Black has a lot of possible moves now, but no clear plan. We can already start the attack with h3, also pushing away the bishop and start attacking on the king side. It's really interesting. And of course, the detail that you have to know, this is the only tactical issue that you have to know, is that e4, what we could think that is a natural reaction, maybe trying to win material for black, it simply doesn't work. In fact, I think e4 is like a little bit of a dubious move, but because we have h3. Otherwise, it looks like again, we don't know what we've done with what, but of course we have this simple h3, and now bishop on f5 is probably going to be the only way for black not to get a much worse position, because I mean, if he takes f3, of course we take on g4, and if pawn takes rook h2, we're winning here. We have a winning attack, we can take the pawn, play rook h1, every piece against black's king. But well, taking it with the bishop is no better. Just g takes f, and rook dg1. I mean, it's similar. We can always build up the attack really quickly, and in this case, I mean, always with an open file now, in all of these lines against black's king. And even bishop on h5 shouldn't be good, because we'll have this normal g4, bishop g6, and knight on h4. And once again, we're much better here. We can always either take on g6 or just plant a knight on f5 and then keep pushing pawns, rook dg1. Too much advantage. So going back in this position, I think bishop on f5 will be basically almost forced. It's really interesting in here because, again, I don't need to show you much more. It's up to you what to play in here. I mean, of course, you could go knight on h4. I don't know, you could just play that. You could even play g4. I mean, all of these moves are really good, but I think maybe I will just play king b1. And once again, taking advantage of, once again, proving that this bishop is having a great role in here, because king on b1 is useful prophylaxis anyway. And yeah, it's good to realize that, black can never go into stuff like this. This is horrible. So, I mean, to finish up with what will be this main line, I guess this idea that I wanted to show you. So, basically, you have to remember that after, well, in here, just the first key move is bishop on c2. And if bishop on g4, just go castles, not be afraid of e4. And I really like the positions that arise from this. It's really cool. There are some alternatives in the way. I'll show you, for example, let's go back to our initial BogoIndian position. So we were in this line. Well, let us say that in here, instead of taking on d2, I don't know, knight c6 is a possible move. Black just waits a little bit. They develop another piece. And by the way, it might have something to do with pushing e5. Okay, not so clear, because maybe now we will have some d5 winning the tempo. It's all relative, but it is a waiting good development move. But if they have the same idea, trying the same plan, maybe just going for d6, knight d7, and e5, well, this might not be so good, because we just go castles. Let us try the same plan for black, like taking on d2 and queen takes e2, d6. We can always play normal, and we'll have considerable advantage. It was always much easier to play with white. For example, knight c3, most natural move. And after e5, well, and here we even have like knight on d5. So I don't think black should play this. I guess I'll take it, and after pawn takes, I think e4 is the only move, because this looks a little dubious. We exchange, and what do we have? Queen on c2, g6. I think this was a computer line. G6, rook ac1, and if c6, oh yeah, queen c5 even. So we even have a better ending. It's always really easy to play with white. But going back to this position, so I think that is why e4 was the only move. But after these exchanges, again, this was computer analysis. But rook fc1, and after bishop on d7, this aggressive queen on a5 is quite annoying. And I think, yeah, rook f8 was the only move, knight e2, and we simply avoid the exchange of queens. And we're always better, well, we'll simply aim in maybe to play just e4. Yes, black's pieces are a little weird, and they're all on the queen side. So it's I don't know. It looks much better for white, this one. But there is a last detail that I wanted to show you, because I told you in the initial BogoIndian position was this one with bishop on b4 check and bishop on d2. Well, I'll talk about this. What about bishop on e7? Again, this idea of I'll recognize the loss of a tempo, but I'll try to argue that the bishop on d2 is wrong. If we continue then with a knight on c3, which is a natural move, well, what is this bishop doing here? It will be better on g5 or maybe b2 after b3. Sometimes white thinks about bishop on c3 and knight bd2, but this can turn out to be a little bit artificial. So there's an argument for black. So it all depends on what you like. For example, me in here, I often like to just play knight on c3, and after d5, bishop on f4. So what I do, of course, is I recognize the loss of a tempo myself. After all, black's bishop lost a tempo before, and I'm transposing simply to a queen's gambit decline. This is like a normal line on the queen's gambit decline that I actually kind of like. And so, for example, castles e3, knight bd7, bishop on e2, and I remember that after d takes e4, one modern line that Aronian invented was, just natural recapturing on c4. He played castles. He did delay the recapture. It was an interesting game. But for example, it's always a matter of taste, because a good example is sometimes I play like in this position instead of b4 check. When my opponents play d3, I often play e3. So now it's different, because now after bishop on b4 check in this particular position where we've included g5 and e3, here I actually sometimes play knight bd2. Because, yeah, now after bishop on d2 and bishop on e7, I cannot transpose to the queen's gambit decline with bishop on f4. And again, this is a totally playable position. Again, you're going to go into this argument. What is worse? Black that lost a tempo with this dark square bishop, or white that is going to try to justify this awkward position of the bishop on d2. And well, it's totally playable. Have different plans. You can wait in there, just play bishop on b3 castles and then see what to do. But that is an interesting detail for me. So normally in this position, once in a while I do play bishop on d2 anyway, but I have to admit that when I do, I'm kind of hoping black won't play bishop on e7. I don't know, it's normal. It's maybe not my favorite line. So more often than not in such positions, I just play knight bd2, which is interesting. So well, just to sum it up, a last detail. Just remember, the idea is always bishop on d3. Yes, we're going to lose a tempo going to c2, but the important task is accomplished. We have the bishop on the long aggressive diagonal, and which will make it more appealing for us to maybe go with long castles, which is the main line. That's the other move you have to remember. When black goes for the natural plan, well, yeah, here the bishop on c2, and after bishop on g4, just long castles, and you have basically a beautiful position. And I insist, when we go back to the initial BogoIndian position, you'll see this if you play whatever in clubs, in games on the internet. Yeah, everyone plays queen on e7, and they just go for that. Bishop takes e2, d6, knight bd7, e5. it's logical, it's inevitable, it's natural, it's sound. So it's good to know that have this little aggressive line against that system. So thanks a lot for watching the video, and well, like, comment, share, subscribe as usual. Thanks. I'll see you next time.